Episode number 173.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because #ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Hello. I want to talk about this topic because it comes up time and time again when I'm working with clients who are contemplating making a career move. And it is the topic of guilt and feeling bad about wanting to make a move. And I understand why this comes up. I understand why people might feel bad about making a move and might not want to step into making a transition. Because when you consider having worked in a role or being in a particular industry or particular space for a very long time, it can feel really, really challenging to envision or even think about doing things in a different way. And one of the reasons is you are associated with that particular career path or the particular role that you have. And when you think about doing something different, you might be thinking, I shouldn't. I should feel satisfied. I should feel like I want to carve out the rest of my career here, because from the outside looking in, this is a great opportunity. This is a great firm, a great company. This is a great path to be on. And so the fact that I don't feel good about making a move is an indication that actually I shouldn't. When really the fact that you don't feel good about making a move might be an indication that you're paying too much attention to what other people are thinking or may be thinking versus what you actually need for your career. Because if you have worked hard to get to where it is that you are now, but you're identifying that where you are now is not really working out, there's a reason for that. And it could be that you feel undervalued and overlooked in the role that you're in. It could be that you recognize that there's no longer alignment between what your true skill set is and the work that you're doing. It could be that you want to make more impact in the work that you do. And all of those reasons for considering a different option are completely valid. So if you're allowing what other people might think, or the fact that there are other people who would love to be in your position holding you back from moving forward, then you are allowing yourself to not reach your full potential. Because ultimately, staying comfortable in the role that you're in is really preventing you from reaching your full potential, right? Because if you're in a role that you don't want to be in, but you're comfortable in that role, it means that you're missing out on the opportunity of really carving out an experience in a role that is well aligned. Because when your skill set and your interest is aligned and you're working in a space that you're supposed to be in, your ability to make more of an impact is way higher. It's way, way higher. And so I really want to encourage you to recognize that if you're wanting more, if you're feeling like your career right now is not hitting the mark, that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's an indication that it is time for you to take action. It's time for you to consider, well, if this isn't the right fit, if this isn't where I'm supposed to be, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And a lot of the times when we think about, I feel guilty, or what might people think, or what might my boss think, or what might, my colleagues think, we can sometimes make up stories in our mind. So we're assuming that people will think and feel a certain way, but do we have evidence to support that? Often not. Often we have a thought and we assume that someone's going to think a certain thing or they're going to act a certain way, and it doesn't always come to fruition, but we are accepting our assumption as fact. And that whole process of accepting your assumptions as fact can be causing you to stay in a place where you don't want to be. I know that when I was working as a lawyer, I knew that I wanted to do something different. I knew that I might want to look at my career differently. I knew that I wanted to structure things differently. But one of the things that was holding me back initially was the guilt, was the idea that I worked really, really hard to get to where it was in my career. I worked really hard to qualify as a lawyer. The competition for places for junior lawyers is extremely high. So if you're able to secure a training contract and actually qualify as a lawyer, it means that you have come up against a lot of people that would love to be in that position but weren't able to qualify because they couldn't secure a training contract. So when I was thinking about potentially walking away from my legal career or doing things differently, the thought that kept coming to my mind was, how many people would love to be in my position? How many people are there out there who weren't able to secure the type of contract that I was able to secure and therefore haven't been given the opportunity to pursue this path? There are lots and lots of people like that. So therefore, somebody who has been able to secure that, I should be grateful and I should be happy and I should stick to the original plan. But the reality is, just because I have decided on a particular path doesn't mean I have to stay there. And just because I decided on a particular path in a different season of my life doesn't mean that that still rings true today. Because there are things that I need to do. There is impact that I want to make that staying in that particular role would not allow me to fulfill. And so I had to separate myself from that feeling of guilt of like, I've got this opportunity and I should be happy and I need to stay with it, and actually take a step back and say, well, what do I actually want to do? If I remove that feeling of guilt and feeling bad that I want more, what would I actually want to do? And that opened my eyes and gave me permission to look at, okay, what are some of the options that I could potentially consider? And so for you, if you're in a position and you know that you have more to give, if you're in a position and you know that maybe you want to make that move up, maybe you know you need to be stepping up, or maybe you know you need to make a lateral move and you need to do something completely different, if you know that is true for you, honor that and allow yourself to explore the possibilities. Allow yourself to explore the possibilities, because I know that for many women who have big dreams and ambitions, we can sometimes mute those big dreams and ambitions because we're like, it's not the right time for me to do, or I can't really do that, or should I even be thinking about that? And it really is my mission to kind of level the playing field for women in the workplace and help you to realize that it is possible for you to navigate your way through and align yourself to a role that is a good fit for you, so that you can bring your whole self to work, so that you can know that you're leveraging the skills and expertise that you have, and that you're making an impact through the work that you're doing and ultimately getting paid well to do it. Because if you can, instead of seeing it as I can only do certain things, I'm only able to fit into these boxes, society tells me that this is what I'm able to do, or this organization says that this is what I'm able to do, instead of just staying in that mind frame, if you open up the possibilities and you're saying, okay, if this is me, and this is what I know I can bring to the table, what are the opportunities that are open to me? And then how do I pursue those? One of my biggest things that I talk to my clients about is creating an unapologetic vision. An unapologetic vision for your career. And this is like the second pillar inside of the career change maker method that I have created. And the reason why I talk about not just your vision, but an unapologetic vision is because we often have a vision which is too small. It's too small. It's like, I'm gonna put out there a vision for my career that I know is achievable and I know that is acceptable. But when we look at being unapologetic about it, it means that you're leading from a place of, this is what I know that I want. And I'm going to be unapologetic about it because I know that when I get that thing, or when I pursue that particular goal, I'm going to be able to make a bigger impact, because that is aligned to who I am as a person and what I can bring to the table. Coming at your career advancement and progression from that place is very different from coming at it from a place of, I need permission to even decide what the vision is that I want to pursue. So I really want to encourage you to think about that. Am I being unapologetic about what it is that I want and what it is that I'm working towards? Or am I coming from a place of, I'm only going to allow myself to do the things that I think everyone else says I can do? And when I think about this, and I think about the amount of women who are sitting in roles that they know are not a good fit, or are sitting in roles where they know that they are only operating at like 60%. I've heard clients say this to me in the past, that they know that they can be operating at a higher level because the work that they're doing is easy. The work that they're doing is not challenging. They are essentially coasting on a day-to-day basis. And even when coasting through the work that they do, they are making they're making their numbers, they're hitting their targets, they're doing the thing that is required of them within their organization. But personally, it's not satisfying and it's not fulfilling because they know that they have so much more to give, but the role that they're in is not giving them the scope to actually bring all that they have to give to the table. So when you see people who are being overlooked for promotion and who are sitting in roles knowing that they could be doing more, part of their frustration is that they're not given the opportunity to do more. They're not given the opportunity to show up the way that they need to show up. And so instead of waiting for someone else to give that opportunity, it's about saying, well, what is it that I do want? And then how do I carve out a path to get there? How do I be strategic about where it is I want to get to and the contribution that I want to be making in the marketplace? And that's why I'm just so passionate about this work. I was actually looking at my podcast stats and I was having a look at download numbers and I was having a look at where people are tuning in to the podcast from. And I realized that we have, over the last year, we've had 33,000 downloads of the podcast, which is fantastic. And I love that lots of people are listening to the podcast on a weekly basis. But the thing that really got me excited was that we have listeners to the Career Changemaker podcast from 99 countries around the world. 99 countries around the world. And why is it that that's exciting? It's not just exciting to me because it's like, hell, great, we've got people listening to the podcast all around the world. That isn't it. What is exciting is that potentially what I'm sharing and the information and the strategies and the tips that I'm giving people around taking control of their careers and navigating their way to an aligned career that they're really excited about, those tips that I'm sharing on a weekly basis are reaching people in 99 countries around the world. And when I get messages from people, I had a message from somebody who is based in the States a few weeks ago to say that she was listening to the podcast and having implemented some of the things that I shared, she was able to move into a new role after months and months of trying and secured an increase in salary despite moving into a different industry from listening to the podcast. So that gets me very, very excited because I want to see more women stepping up and really taking ownership of the direction that they want to take in their career and positioning themselves and packaging their experience in a way that allows them to really go for what it is that they want. Instead of feeling bad about wanting to do things differently, instead of feeling bad about wanting to go for a promotion, feeling empowered by that, feeling empowered by the fact that you don't want to settle. You don't want to settle for just showing up at work on a day-to-day basis and just getting the work done. If that's not enough for you, that's an indication that you are destined to be a leader in your space. If it's not enough for you to just show up and do the work, but you know you want to be doing more and you want to make more of an impact, then you need to be in a position at a higher level where you can be making that impact. And you need to be in a position where you feel like your interest is aligned with what it is that the company is doing, or you feel like your values is aligned with what it is that the company is standing for. So I just want more women to just stand up and be like, yes, this is what I want to do and this is where I want to go. And that is why I'm doing the work here with the live streams, with the podcast, with the community that I create inside of my program. But I want to encourage you to really step into what is the next thing for you? Where is it that you want to be going in your career? And how is it that you want to navigate your way through versus feeling like there's something wrong with you actually wanting to do things in a different way? There's nothing wrong with it. If you're feeling it, you're feeling it. It's okay to feel the feels, feel the emotion, but then it's asking yourself, well, what do I do with this information? What do I do with this data? What do I do with the fact that I know that where I am now is not where I want to be? You may have gone through a whole period of reflection. This role right now that you're sitting in is not the right role for you. But then the question is, what do you do with that information? Where do you go from here? Do you just stay in it because you think you should? Or do you decide to take what might seem like the harder path to figuring out what the next step is for you and what the best next move is for you? Because I will tell you, on the other side of pushing past the guilt and pushing past the, I don't know if I should do this, is an opportunity to do work that you're super, super passionate about and is very much aligned. So when I think about me moving from working as a lawyer and a coach and straddling a portfolio career for a very long time to me working full-time in my business and being able to focus all of my time and energy in making the type of impact that I want to make in the world, completely transforms the way that I show up on a day-to-day basis and how energized I feel and how excited I feel about the work that I'm doing each and every day. And your transition may not look anything like my transition, but your transition will cause you to feel differently about your career. If you make the right kind of move and you understand yourself so that you can align what it is that you're doing to you as a person, magic happens. Magic absolutely happens, and it's so exciting. And when I see the transitions that people make and the difference that it makes in them as a person, that's what truly lights me up and gets me to keep doing this work. So I hope you feel encouraged. So that is all that I have for you. I will speak to you very, very soon. This episode is sponsored by the Career Changemaker program. Are you ready to make a change in your career? Are you tired of coasting in a role or career that is no longer a good fit? Are you ready to create more impact, feel more fulfilled, and earn more money from the work that you do? If you are nodding your head and what I shared resonates with you, then lean in because I want to share more with you about the program. This is my signature coaching program that is designed to help you to identify and make your next best career move. I created this program because I recognize that too many amazingly talented women are missing important direction and strategy for their career development and advancement. In the corporate world, there is an unspoken, invisible playbook that determines how you should maneuver to experience the type of career satisfaction that you desire. The problem is, so many women have the playbook with a few pages missing. And if you have pages missing, you're in a position where you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, how can you fix it? So I really want to help you. Let me help you fill in the gaps so that you can understand exactly what is required to take you from where you are now to where you want to be in your career so that you can feel fulfilled in the work that you're doing, so you can be excited about the work that you do, and so that you can feel the impact that you're making through the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Make your application to join the Career Changemaker program today by heading over to www.careerchangemakers.com/program, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe to the show so that you don't miss any future episodes. Also, I would love to know what your biggest takeaway has been from today's episode. Come over and join us in our Career Changemakers community over on LinkedIn so that you can join the conversation there. Head over to lightbotscoaching.com/community and it will take you right to the group. I look forward to seeing you.